Hey everyone. So right out of the gate, one thing I found kind of funny upon revisiting this material, but also a little tragic, is about how this episode it has Vegapunk's confession in an ironic parallel about how he was just a man who wished for peace, to bring the world into a new age, and yet all the while he's saying Although he's saying that, Egghead is burning in a sea of hellfire in the Elder's attempt to destroy every trace of what Vegapunk has built and what he's trying to achieve with this broadcast. Like, this episode is the pinnacle of two ideologies of war and peace colliding with each other, and it really does feed into the idea that this truly is the turning point of the series, and that no matter what happens from here, like the world ain't going back to normal. There's going to be some grain of truth that's going to be out there in the ether that is going to be hard to ignore. And as the title promises, obviously the episode sees Vegapunk make a major reveal to the entire world that Joy Boy was basically the first pirate to have ever existed. And when this was first revealed in the manga, I was a little confused by that because sure, while Nika's legend is old, sure there had to have been those who came before who still engaged in piracy, but now looking at this reveal with the most recent chapter still fresh in our minds, yeah, it all makes sense now, and it's a telling reveal that makes you realize how much everything of what the government is has been built on absolutely nothing but lies. Like there is absolutely no truth to anything that the government does. Nothing. Also, which I know is kind of an obvious thing, but again, given recent context of the latest chapter, it makes way more sense now. Also, there's a little addition to this episode that I really like, which is the opening credits of feathers falling, and apparently that is meant to evoke a bit of Icarus symbolism, showing for that much like Icarus, for pretty much all of Vegapunk's good intentions, he still flew close to the sun, which, yeah, is kind of accurate. He intended in order to truly change the world, but as is the case with all things when it comes to the government, he ended up paying the price for those intentions. Now, in saying that, obviously we see a lot more perspective moments of different places in the world reacting to Vegapunk's news, but there is one I do want to talk about, which is when we cut to Marie Joie, and more specifically, when we cut to Shalria's perspective. Now, I do want to make it clear. I am with the majority. I am in line with the majority of people who say when it comes to how the Celestial Dragons need to be, that the Celestial Dragons shouldn't be redeemed in any way, shape, or form, because much like Emu and the Elders, they have proven time and again to be nothing but a blight on this world that need to be eradicated. And I think and when I look at this scene now, even in the anime, I think that's the reason why both in this episode and the corresponding chapter, Oda chose to focus on her specifically, because I think Shalria, more than any of these other world nobles, is going to be the one to realize we need to die. We need to be wiped from the face of the earth in order for the world to be truly free. Now, how that's going to translate onto the written page and the screen, only Oda and Toei know that. But if I had to guess, I think as to what like her role is going to be, what purpose that from Shalria is going to serve going forward. I think we will see her perform some small act of self-sabotage in the series climax, and where she's basically going to serve the role of basically martyr in saying, yeah, I'm going to die with everyone else, but I'm okay with that. I'm just as guilty as everyone else here, and I know I'm probably giving Shoria too much credit with this theory, but you like the episode makes it very clear. You see clearly in this episode the look on her face. like regardless of how how the whole incident on Egghead ends, Shalria is going to be left with some questions, and she's going to want answers, which in itself I think makes you wonder though if Emu and the Elders are the only ones who know the true nature of the world or its history. Then what? Then are the what? Then if that knowledge is passed, then whether or not it raises the question of whether or not that knowledge is passed down from parent to child in a way of succession with the celestial dragons. So Shalria, so so either Shalria just hasn't been told yet, or I'm willing to bet, like so many other celestial dragons, up to this point, she was probably left in ignorance, and I almost tend to lean more so in the direction that just after a few hundred generations after the Great War, it was all just buried and never spoken of again. So I think that's probably the reason as to why this news is basically so shocking or surprising to her, because the celestial because her family aren't even aware of it themselves. It might have been aware with her ancestors or something, but not her. And on a minor note, before moving on though, among the audience listening in on the broadcast, we also get reintroduced to Foxy and his crew, and Demalo Black and his gang of idiots, this time dressed as Kid and his crew. And honestly, in that particular instance, I'm not sure who I'm most annoyed at seeing again. I guess Demalo and his crew, simply for the fact that their gimmick of dressing up as notorious pirates had gotten old from like the first episode they were introduced. So seeing them again dressed as Kid's crew, like that pretty much is just insulting at this point. Like I know Kid gets a lot of shit, but he does not deserve that kind of press, all right? Like, Demalo, just stop it with this bullshit, all right? That's what I gotta say. And the thing is, at least with Foxy, there's kind of a certain style and charm to him, even if he is annoying. So it's like, yeah, for me, Demalo is just the more annoying asshole in that scenario. With that said, I love how once again you can really gauge whether Vegapunk is telling the truth or not by how much the elders keep getting even more angry with every spoken word. Like the fact that they're getting that angry at all just vindicates his claims that yes, yes, what he's saying is true. Unfortunately in this case, it doesn't matter, I guess, if his claims are true or not. It's really just going to be up to public opinion as to whether or not they pretty much believe they believe what he's saying. Like I guess that's kind of the sad part about it in a way, is that whether or not Vegapunk is whether they believe whether Vegapunk is telling the truth or not is kind of invalid. It's whether or not the public is willing to believe it. And 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 honestly, aside from that, look, can we just kind of pour one out for our boy Edison at this point? Like, he's practically falling apart at the seams, but he's pushing himself just to give the Strats that chance to escape. Like, man deserves nothing but respect and zero slander after all is said and done. Like Edison right now is proving to be the MVP of this in this climax so far, for being the one to actually open things up for the Strats to escape. But yeah, guys. That's pretty much all I got for this review. If you enjoyed the video, like, comment, subscribe, on Blue Sky, and on Crunchyroll. Be sure to notification bell, hit the subscribe button, and just share the around, guys. Dark Knight signing off. Later, everyone.